Today, I'm going to be ranking every single Vanderlyn gang member by how much drip they have. 95% of my viewers are unsubscribed, so if you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe. In last place, 24th place, I have to put Jack Marson. I know part of it is like his mom dresses him up, and your mom dressing you up, especially when there's no other children in camp, and there's basically no experience of like dressing a child up, is not going to, help your drip. But Jack Marson actually has no drip. This guy is always dressed up like an adult when he's like a little kid, and he always has these like little adult outfits, and he doesn't have that little like cute like baby outfits or like child outfits. He's always like wrapped up, and he just like, I don't want to say he looks stupid, but he kind of looks dumb all the time when he's wearing these like super adulty outfits. I mean, maybe that's just how they dressed up kids in the 1900s, the early 1900s, late 1800s, but I just don't think Jack looks good, and probably part of it is just due to his mom dressing him up instead of him dressing him up. I know he'd be coming out with some crazy fits, but just in RDR2, I feel like his fits are not all that great, and just in general, I don't really like them. So I think Jack Marson has to go in F tier. Absolutely negative drip. In 23rd place, I've got Reverend Swanson. I don't think Reverend Swanson is all that like dripless, if you want to call it that, but I think he kind of wears the same thing all the time, and it's not like the greatest like suit outfit, if you want to call it that. And then every time he does wear it, it's always like this dirty, musty ass suit outfit. So I feel like that really holds it back from being like a solid dresser. I don't know. I feel like he just wears like below average normal clothes, and then he's also just musty as hell. So I feel like that really just holds him back a lot. And eventually he does clean his act up and, get it back. But like during the game, this is just one of the most disgusting characters. And it's just like, it really shows on his clothes because he's not cleaning himself in that way. Versus someone like Bill, who's kind of in the same way, but his clothes that actually like look pretty clean. And he has a wide variety of clothes. Swanson kind of always wears the same thing, or always wears pretty similar things. And they're always musty as hell and just look kind of gross and disgusting. So I think Swanson has to go into D tier. I just don't really see him having any drip at all, and he's definitely below average drip. In 22nd place, I've got Kieran Jones. Kieran Jones does have one good outfit where she dresses up in that little red suit, but just in general, I feel like she wears like the most mid outfits, and people might say, oh, but Kieran is hot and whatever, like the outfits aren't that bad. Bro, the outfits are bad. You're just looking somewhere below her eyes. There's like two things below her eyes that aren't her eyes. You guys are looking at that, but if you look at the actual outfits themselves, I feel like they're just very, very like mid average. I don't know. There's really nothing special about them, and she just dresses in like the most plain clothes ever. So I wouldn't say the outfits necessarily are bad at all, but I just don't really see her as like a very drippy character or anything. I just feel like it's just the most mid outfits, and some people are just blinded by the fact that she has some things just sticking out of her chest area, and that's why they might think she's pretty, or she's, good looking, or she has great outfits. They're not great outfits. There's just some bulges around the chest area that are really making them pop out a little more, if you want to say that. But I don't think she's like a bad dresser at all. I think she's just very average, or like maybe a little bit below average. So I think she has to go in the C tier, basically just like average for the time, and definitely below average for the game standards. In 21st place, I've got Shawn Maguire. Well, I don't think Shawn's outfits are necessarily like bad. I just think they're kind of like these okay outfits that are kind of just muddled by grunge, similarly to Reverend Swanson. And the fact they didn't ever get to like upgrade his drip because he died so early in the game and didn't get to, kind of play out his entire game, like I feel like that is also part of the reason why I feel like his outfits are so far down here. Like I feel like there is some style choices I think are solid, but the fact that they're all like so grungy when he does wear them in the game, and there's just no time to ever upgrade because he comes back in chapter 2 and he dies in the beginning of chapter 3, mid chapter 3. So he's only in there for one chapter of the game. So there's not like he has like 50 million different outfit choices that I could choose from. There's just like a couple of them, and I feel like he doesn't look that great in any of them. They're all just pretty musty, pretty grungy, and there's no ever upgrades from there. So I think he also has to go in the C tier. It's just pretty mid and definitely like below average for the game in general. Now, I know this might be a controversial choice, but in 20th place, I've got John, at least like on the NPC area. And I feel like his outfit here, like it's just not that amazing. Like the one he wears, like the normal one he wears as an NPC, it's fine. It's definitely nothing special. And I wouldn't say it's like drippy at all. There's not really much going in terms of like, contrast or whatever. It's just kind of like he's putting stuff together and just throwing stuff on. And the jacket is cool. Like, I feel like the outerwear kind of carries a lot of people's outfits. And here I feel like it's not like this sick like leather jacket. It's just like a cool jacket to have on, but it's nothing special. And I feel like just the fact that he also, similar to Shawn, has like a lot of stuff that's pretty dirty, I feel like it really holds back. And I just don't think there's that much like glowing up in terms of his outfit or wardrobe station, because he is in prison for some of the game as well. So it's like that kind of takes away some of the outfit choices. Just in general, there's not really much style going on from John Marson. I mean, you can clearly see it. Of course, you can change all his outfits and whatnot, but I'm more basing this off of the NPC character versus like you actually playing as John, because you can put in any outfit you want and you can look drippy as hell as John. But I just think on his own, he's not going out there and being like, oh, I need to look way better. He's got what he needs. He's got a wife. He's got a kid. Like, he only needs them. He doesn't need to look good for anyone. Here he looks good enough for Abigail. Like, Abigail accepts him as a parent as is. He doesn't really need to go out there and impress anyone. So I think John, he looks fine, but I just don't think there's that much drip in his own right. So I think he also has to go into C tier. In 19th place, I've got Tilly, and I think Tilly really just held back by the fact that she wears a lot more like manly stuff or like tomboyish stuff. Like, she wears a lot of stuff that, I guess could fit a man. Like, it's not necessarily going to be like a man stuff, but she's not like out here wearing like, I guess, shorter dresses or whatnot. Like, she's not out here going to getting dressed up or not. She's kind of out there for workwear, and I feel like that's kind of what holds her back. Like, some of the stuff does look fine, and she does have one dress that I feel like is really nice. It's like this long yellow dress, and I feel like it looks really, really solid. But just in general, I think Tilly's outfits aren't all that amazing. Like, they're fine looking, but she doesn't seem to put that much effort into them. And even when you do see her in like the epilogue and not, it's like she does look nice, but like for someone being like supposedly a rich Saint Denis person, the outfit isn't all that amazing for like, in my opinion. So I think she also has to go into C tier. There's some solid drip here, but I wouldn't say it's anything special. In 18th place, I've got Abigail. I think similarly to Tilly, she does have a lot more like practical wear, if that's what you want to call it, like stuff that isn't super revealing and is just kind of, good to work stuff. Like, you're doing stuff around the farm, you're cooking and whatnot, and like it's not revealing or anything. You're wearing these super, super long dresses, which of course makes sense for the time. I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of stuff like that, and a lot of like not men's wear, but it like kind of looks like men's wear. And I feel like there are some like really great Abigail outfits where she kind of gets dressed up and whatnot. But I just think in general, the majority of it is pretty mid, and there's not that much like amazing selection going on. And it's just like okay for Abigail as like outfits wise. So I don't know. I think she also has to go into B tier. I feel like it's a little bit higher than someone like Tilly, just because there are a lot better like selection of outfits, but there's nothing amazing where I'd be like, oh my god, Abigail has to go into A tier. It's just all kind of solid, and there are some like much better items that would put her a little bit higher, but there's also just a lot of like mid in general. So definitely a B tier for Abigail. In 17th place, I got Mary Beth. I feel like Mary Beth is a little bit low here, but I still think she looks pretty solid just in general. Like, I feel like she just wears very fine clothing all the time. Nothing amazing. There's nothing here that I think is really outstanding, but I feel like always, like, she's a good looking character. She always has some, nice, like, she has like a really nice necklace that's like blue and turquoise and whatever. I feel like that really bumps her up, but none of her outfits are like, oh my god, that's such an amazing dress you got, Mary Beth. Like, she looks so bad in that or whatever. Like, she always just looks fine and like solid, above average, but there's nothing out here that I'd be like, oh my god, that's an outstanding dress that every woman in the game needs to be wearing. It's just like all pretty solid. So I think her drip, in my opinion, is just good. There's nothing outstanding, but it's all like pretty quality. But that still puts her in B tier, which is pretty far down the list because I feel like a lot of other characters have great outfits, but she's still a B tier outfit. I think it's still like above average, but in terms of like the video game, it's pretty below average. In 16th place, I got another maybe controversial one with Arthur Morgan, but I think Arthur, just like on his own with this outfit, is not the greatest looking guy, like in terms of like outfit dressing wise. And I feel like just in general, when you have like a crazy outfit, you can go out to people will be like, oh, wow, that's a nice outfit. And when you're wearing your regular stuff, no one really says anything. So I think the fact that like Arthur's default outfit isn't all that amazing, and like that's what I'd assume he'd wear if you weren't the person controlling him and you weren't pulling out these amazing drippy ass outfits that every single person does. Like, no one's out here rocking the regular like normal Arthur jacket and blue sleeve shirt. But like even that is like a solid outfit. I just feel like in general, Arthur's not going out there putting a ton of time into his appearance or like into his outfit dressing. Like, he does look good in the suit, but I just think in general, he's not going out there to be getting all these new suits or whatnot. Like, the player does it, but Arthur's not going to do it. So just in general, I think I have to bring him down for that, because like, of course, all the outfits that you can use are insane. And like, you know, if Arthur could do that, he should do that. But I just think in general, Arthur as an NPC probably wouldn't be dripped out as well as the player is. So I think I also have to put him in B tier. But again, like, you can drip him out however you want, and he could technically go into S tier if you want to argue that way. But I think he's in B tier as like an NPC. In 15th place, I've got Kieran. I think Kieran has some great outfits, and I feel like the hat is especially like amazing to like benefit all his outfits. But I don't know. I feel like he also has some mid outfits. So I don't know. I feel like he kind of also has to go in B tier with all these other people, because while the hat is pretty amazing, there's just not that much else to like bring him up, put him any higher. And he just does have like a little bit of a worn feel, similar to someone like Shawn or John. But it's not like as much as them, because I feel like he at least gets in the bath a little bit more than they do. So I don't know. I feel like he's definitely a B tier in terms of outfits. There are some solid ones, but it's all just like pretty solid quality, nothing amazing in terms of quantity. Like, he doesn't have a crazy selection of outfits where he just looks good all the time, but you know, he does look solid most of the time. So definitely B tier for me. In 14th place, I've got Uncle. I just can't lie. Uncle, especially in camp, like in the Van der Linde gang, looks so good. I feel like just the outerwear, that jacket is so fucking fire. That hat, I feel like it works really well. And I feel like he is one of the better dressed people in the actual camp. But I feel like what holds him back is just whenever he goes to like John and live with John, he looks so much worse with just like the little suspenders and whatnot. Like, I don't know. I feel like he looks a lot worse with John than when he does in the camp. And I feel like the camp, he just has that amazing uncle look. And then when he goes to John, it kind of regresses back to like, it's all right, but it's just nothing special. So I think he has to go into B tier, but if you're just wearing that Van der Linde gang merch, it'd be a little bit better. So yeah, again, B tier, but Uncle could have been so much better if he was just rocking that Van der Linde gang drip. In 13th place, I've got Sadie Adler. I think Sadie Adler looks absolutely amazing in certain outfits, like the bounty hunter outfit, but there is just a solid part of the game, I think, until chapter 4 maybe, where she just looks like, I don't want to say dumb or anything, but it's just like she has like the average like widow like look, and then she does get into it at chapter 3 is when she like starts buying her own clothes and like starting to look like a badass more. But I feel like even then she doesn't look that amazing. Just when she gets that bounty hunter outfit, I feel like that could go in S tier itself. But I feel like a lot of the other stuff to me is just pretty mid in general. And like, you know, while the stuff she wears in chapter 4, 5, and 6 is like solid, it's just kind of like, I don't know, an average, you know, woman wearing like a button-up shirt and like having her little handkerchief or whatnot. I don't know. It's something special to me, and I feel like she looks a lot better in the epilogue when she just pulls out the bounty hunter drip and she's spending all her money on clothes. And I mean, you know, that was the whole point of it. It's like she's spending all her money on clothes. She's got that crazy bounty hunter drip. So, I mean, I get that part, but again, I just don't think she looks that good in the regular part of the game with Arthur. She looks a lot better in the epilogue. So I think that's going to have to put her in B tier. There just are so many mid outfits she gets before the epilogue, but when the epilogue, she looks so good. So B tier. In 13th place, I've got Grimshaw. I think Grimshaw looks pretty good in the majority of her outfits. I feel like they're all just like very solid quality. There's no bad outfits, but I just don't think anything is out here that's like super amazing, like something like Sadie's outfits. I just feel like there's a lot better quality in like her 4 or 5 outfits than are in Sadie's like 25 outfits. So I think she has to go a little bit above Sadie, but I still think they're both in the B tier. Grimshaw does have some cool outfits, but I feel like there's not that much variety in anything to put her any higher than B tier. In 12th place, I've got Mr. Leopold Strauss. I feel like Strauss always dresses really nicely, and I feel like similarly to Grimshaw, it's like very quality over quantity. He always has this like nice like suit on, if you want to call it that, like half suit. And I just feel like he always looks solid, and when he goes into town, he puts on the little suit, like the actual suit when he goes on like the boat and whatnot. I feel like that looks pretty solid, and I just think in general he always looks well presented. He's always like kind of cleaned up, and I think that's kind of what puts him into the higher edges of B tier. But there's just not that much going on with his outfits. He only has like 3 of them, so I can't put him any higher than B tier just because there's not that much variety. In 11th place, I've got Simon Pearson, and I think Pearson does look good in the majority of the outfits. I'm always like, damn, this guy's weirdly dripped out for being like a chef, and even when he is wearing the chef's like outfit, he kind of looks really good in like that outfit as well. It's like really weird because I'm like, damn, this chef guy, like Pearson, is actually kind of dripped out, and it's like even when you go back and visit him in the epilogue, like damn, like Pearson really got it like that, especially when you do see him in like Coulter at the beginning of the game. Like he probably has one of the best winter outfits in the entire game. I feel like especially when you do put his hat on, cover up that hair of his, he does just look, I don't know, really solid. So I think he has to also go into B tier. There's just not that much variety that can put him any higher. And sometimes when he isn't wearing, like when he is wearing the chef stuff, it does hold him back a little bit. But I think in general, like Pearson is a pretty well-dressed man for being a chef in like all his circumstances in the game. So I think he has to go into B tier just because he presents himself so well for being like wearing a chef's apron and whatnot all the time. So I definitely think he has to go into B tier. In 10th place, it's Micah Bell. While you might hate him as a character, those jackets are absolutely beautiful every single time, and they just look great on him. I feel like he wears that black leather jacket, he wears the brown leather jacket, and he just, you know, comes with kind of a swagger and drip, and it all kind of works together, and I'm like, damn, like, Micah kind of rocks it, especially with the hat, too. I feel like he just always works well, and even in the epilogue, I'm just like, damn, Micah is really rocking the outfit. So, yeah, I feel like as much as you might love him or hate him as a character, he's always kind of looking good, however it goes. And I just think that's what has to put him in A tier. He's at the very bottom of A tier because I feel like his outfits aren't varied enough to go any higher, but he does pull off some solid outfits once, like not even once in a while, the majority of the game. And I feel like that's what has to put him at least in A tier. In 9th place, I've got Bill Williamson. I don't know how he even got up this high, but I was looking through all the outfits and I was like, damn, Bill is kind of rocking it. Maybe it's just those little like gay flair. I don't know if that's like mean to say or whatnot, but like, you know, he's keeping his outfits pretty clean, I'd say, even for like a guy that I'd say is pretty dirty and disgusting. Like a lot of his outfits, especially like the flannel shirt, I'm like, damn, like that's a pretty clean outfit for like someone that I feel like does not wipe his ass whenever he goes to the bathroom. So I don't know. I feel like he's a really weird guy in terms of like he really has style. He's wearing these like nice jackets similar to Micah, but I feel like he just has a little bit more variety in the style, which puts him up higher. And the fact that he's like, both he and Micah are like actually ugly characters, but Micah's a little bit better looking on his own than Bill is. And I feel like Bill and him, like when you add their like styles up, I feel like Bill actually looks pretty similar to Micah, if not even better than Micah, just because some of these outfits he kind of really rocks well. So I think he also has to go in the A tier. While there isn't that much variety in the outfits, I feel like every single time, like whatever he's wearing, it's always pretty solid from Bill, and I don't think it's anything bad at all. So I think he also has to go into A tier, but he can't go any higher than that. In 8th place, I've got Charles, and Charles has some amazing outfits, and especially when you like consider his hair changing throughout the game and him going to like the little mohawk, the little ponytail, like all these different like styles of hair in between them. I feel like that also puts him up a little bit, but he also just does have like a pretty amazing style for a lot of the game. Sometimes the outfits definitely do not hit as well as some of the other ones do. Like in the late game, like I'd say, especially when he does go to John's farm, there aren't the most amazing outfits, but I just think in general, he has a lot of variety in terms of outfits, and especially when he is wearing the crazy leather black jacket, like that does look so fire in general. And when he's wearing some of like the Native American stuff. I feel like that looks cool, and he really goes back to his roots with that. But some of it is a little bit plain, and like it's just, it's given a solid amount, but it's just not doing enough for me. And I feel like that's what kind of takes him down and lowers him down a little bit when he does have some of the best outfits in the entire game. So while I still think he's an A tier character in terms of outfit and drip style, I think the variance and like some of those outfits not hitting as much has to put him just in the middle of A tier, but still a great drippy ass character. In 6th place, I've got Lenny Summers. He always wears this nice like formal attire throughout the entire game. It's always like formal or formal-ish. Like he's always kind of dressing up with these like button-down shirts and whatnot. But it always looks good. Like he always keeps everything clean. He always got everything in order. And I feel like the formal attire really does work on most characters in the entire game. And just on him, I feel like it looks really good. And just throughout the game, kind of keeps up that same style. But there is a lot of variation to it. Like when he goes into the cold weather, like there's a little bit of variation. When he goes into like Lemoyne, he kind of takes some stuff off, but it always does have this like underlying like style look. And I think it just really works throughout the entire game. And I think Lenny just has great style in terms of that as well. I mean, you can kind of tell he doesn't like get some from like Hosea, but he kind of like looks up to Hosea in that way. And they do have a similar style, and they both wear a lot of formal stuff. So I think Lenny is a very good dresser, and he does have a lot of style. He does have a lot of drip, if you want to call it that, but I think there are some duds in the outfit collection, and he doesn't have that much variance, at least compared to the people above him, but he still is a great dresser and definitely has to go into A tier. In 5th place, I've got Molly O'Shea. Molly O'Shea actually just, serves it with the outfits. Like I feel like every single time she wears an outfit, it's always like pretty solid, and then when you see like the good outfits from her, they just look like really, really great. Like she just somehow has an amazing sense of style. It's probably because she came from like an actual rich household, and just in general, like it all just really works. And compared to the other female characters, women in the game, like she just really outshines them in general. And I feel like she always just puts on a better outfit, even if she doesn't have like the same time, like she doesn't have the variety of outfits as some of them have. So I think she has to go into A tier, but since she's just not really that involved in the entire game and she doesn't have that many outfits, I think she can't go any higher than A tier. And when her best outfit isn't even something that's used in the entire game, that does hold a little bit back from her, but still she does have an amazing style. And even in like the more modest outfits, I feel like they always are like immaculately selected and styled. So definitely A tier for me. In 4th place, I've got Hosea Matthews. Hosea Matthews to me is just, he's got the Lenny Summers style. I mean, I think, of course, he did pass it down a little bit to Lenny, but he just has a Lenny Summers style, but it's just a lot more like, he just kind of brings it with him. He just has that like style, and he kind of has it he has the confidence, similar confidence to wear the same stuff. He's been doing it for a long time. I feel like that just brings a little bit extra compared to something what Lenny brings. And I just think all the outfits that Hosea has, they're all just immaculately styled. It just looks good. And some of them are like really, really simple, but I'm always like, damn, like Hosea looks good. Like this guy always looks good. And I just feel like in general, he looks way better than most of the other people in the camp. There are a couple people that are ahead of him just because I feel like Hosea's stuff is very simple and like, kind of anyone else could do it. And he doesn't like pull off this super, super flamboyant thing. He doesn't have the most variety, but whatnot. But everything else is just like, he does everything at such a good level, except for having like a super big variety of outfits and having that flamboyance, which I feel like really separates him from being an S tier character in terms of the outfit, the drip, but he still does have crazy drip. And he definitely has to go in the A tier just because some of these outfits are just like the most simple, but just the most well pulled off. And he just does everything to such a high degree level in terms of styling and all that. So he definitely has to go into A tier for the drip. In 3rd place, it's Mr. Dutch Vanderlyn, and of course, this man has to be just up there. This man pulls off some of the just most amazing fits, and I think it's just like Hosea's fits and style, just adding a little bit of flamboyance, adding a little bit of that Dutch charm, and just really doesn't go that long of a way, but it really just puts him into a whole new level and a whole like new thing, and especially when you do get to see him in the epilogue throwing crazy fits out again. I feel like it just really kind of ties the whole thing together, and it really puts him on another level compared to Jose, even when they are pretty similar in terms of the styling wise. So I don't know, Dutch to me definitely has to be S tier. I'm always coming back to Cam. I'm like, damn, Dutch, you look good. And whenever you go into a mission with Dutch, he's always pulling off another crazy outfit. You see him in the police drip, he looks good in the police drip. You see him when he puts on a suit, he looks good in the suit. He just overall just really looks good with all these different suits. He kind of pulls everything off, and I think that's why he definitely has to go into S tier. He just has some crazy drip, and I mean, you kind of do have to have some crazy drip when you're the super confidence guy and you're kind of like a cult leader in your own right. In second place, it is so easily Javier Escuela. The top two people are so far and above everyone else in the gang. I feel like it's just not even on the same planet. While Dutch is still amazingly and impeccably stylized and dripped out, Javier has so many amazing outfits. I was going through it and I was like, holy shit, this guy has like 40 different outfits and they all look like really, really good. I was like, it's just so weird. And there's a line in the game where I believe Arthur says like Javier is the best dressed man in the camp, and I mean, I kind of agree with it. There's someone that is above him, but you know, Javier has so many different outfits, and I feel like every single one of them has like its own unique style and its own unique kind of like little look, and it's still they all look great, and they all kind of have this unique style that's like clearly Javier's. And it's just like, I don't know, it's so weird because you don't really see Javier as this big character in the game, because he's really not. Like, he really is a side character in the game, while he is like a main antagonist of Red Dead Redemption 1. But in Red Dead Redemption 2, like, it's so weird to see that he has like 20 different outfits and they all look amazing. It's like they put in these amazingly intricate details to like show that Javier is a guy that always cares about the way he looks, always cares about his style and all that. And it's just so crazy to see that all these details really make him one of the most dripped out characters in the entire game, even while it's way more subtle than the guy that's in first place. But either way, Javier is such an S tier drip lord. He's dripped out, maybe not to the max, but he really pulls a lot. And I feel like there's only one thing holding him back from first place. While he does have that variety, I feel like he just doesn't have the flamboyance that I would want it to be. And I feel like while he's a much more subtle character in terms of the drip, I feel like to be the top drip master, drip lord, you need to have a little bit more flamboyance and a little bit more like confidence in it. He has a lot more of the silent confidence. The top guy has a lot more of the outgoing, outlandish confidence. But he definitely is S tier, and he just does have some crazy outfits and just in general crazy drip. I don't think there's anyone that could go first place except for Josiah Trelawney. Even though Trelawney doesn't have the same variety of outfits that someone like Javier does, or even Dutch, like every time I see him in an outfit, I'm like, holy shit, this guy spent like $10,000 to get this little vest here. And it has these intricate ass details where they just look amazing. And I feel like every single time this man just he just went to the cleaners, he went to the laundromat, even though there was no laundromat this time, and he got his stuff fresh done, fresh pressed before going to camp and spending time with all these grungy people. Like, he just wanted to look better than everyone in camp every single time he went there. And you just see his clothes and they're all like pressed to perfection. He's the crazy top hat. I just feel like he has to have that flamboyance that like someone like Javier doesn't have. And that's just, to me, what puts him at number one, where it's like, even though he doesn't have the variety of outfits that Javier has, he just has a little bit of his own like spark to say. I don't know if that's a good way of saying it, but like, he's his own thing that makes him different than everyone else in the gang. And it just puts him over to the top, and he's just cleaner, and he just is cut from a different cloth than the rest of the gang. And because he is like this con man that's not doing all the dirty stuff that like someone like Dutch is doing, it just makes him a little bit cleaner and a lot more drippy in that way. So I think he definitely has to go into first place for sure, S tier, and just overall is just the drippiest character in all of Red Dead Redemption 2. So that wraps up ranking every Van der Linde gang member by drip. And if you guys would change anything, put it in the comments. And if you guys do want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe. And there should be some videos popping up right now, so click on them and watch them.